Okay guys, in this video I'm going to talk about dimensioning. So we had our house, and a couple of things that I realized that I didn't talk about, and I should on this video, is the wall where the windows go through it. So here is, this yellow line is our outside face of stud, and then this outer line here is the siding. So we need to establish that a little bit better so that contractors understand exactly what's going on. First thing, let's highlight this outer, this outer layer here, and let's change it to a different. Well, we're going to have to add one. Well, that's a good thing. So let's talk about layer properties. So click on layer properties, and these are the layer properties that are currently available to you, and they have different names and so forth through here. So you'll see that well, currently everything that we've drawn is pretty much going to be on 0. So let's check that. So if we highlight everything that we've got here, you notice that bam, it's 0. So let's go ahead and put like our windows and doors into the category that they need to be in. So I'm just going to highlight all of the windows, and then I'm just going to click on this drop down here, and I'm going to hit windows. Now I'm not crazy about the windows being a different color, okay, because blue is just, I don't know, I'm just not happy about that. So I'm going to go down here, I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click on the color of the window there, and I'm going to change it back to the white, or the black. So all right, so automatically all of those are going to change when I hit that. Now what's so good about having this on a different layer? Well, I can click on this at any time. Let's say, for instance, I want to highlight all the walls and I want the windows. And then I can actually come in here and I can turn the windows off just by clicking that little light bulb. All right, see how that works? I can also lock those. So if, they're there, I can't do anything with them. I can't delete them. I can't move them. It won't let me because that's a locked layer. All right, so that way if I get something on there that I don't want to change, then obviously it's not going to mess up. All right, so let's go into our layer properties, and let's add a layer called hide or hidden. So up here at the top, there's several different things here, and if you just hover over it, let it sit there for a little bit, it will pop up and let you know what that thing is, even though it doesn't have a name on it. All right, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit new, and I'm going to change the name layer 1 to hidden, and I'm going to make this, oh, I don't know, let's say I'm going to make it magenta. And then over here in the line type, it's continuous. I don't want continuous, I want a dashed line. All right, so that way I know that it's a hidden line. All right. So in this case, I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to click on that outside most line that I was telling you about was the siding line, and I'm going to change that to hidden. All right, notice how it shows up in a dotted line. Now, I'm not crazy about this big dotted line. I would rather have a much smaller dotted line. So I need to download some different properties on here. So let's go over here to these lines, and over here you've got a whole bunch of different things here, and I'm just going to click on this little side button here that pops out, and that way, I'm sorry, not that, I'm going to, well, I got to think about this for a second, it's been a while. Okay, there we go. So I want to go away. I want to click on other. All right, so when I hit these line types, then I want to click on Other. And this is the only line types that I have, basically, is a dotted line, continuous, and a dashed line. And I'm not crazy about this dashed line. So I'm going to load, I'm going to hit load, and it brings up a whole just ton of different lines in there. And I wish this display would go away. Golly. Alright, so I've got dashed times 0.5, and then I've got dashed times 2. So I want to get dashed times 2, or excuse me, dashed half, basically. And while I'm in here, I might as well go ahead and get some other ones. Oh, right there's hidden, is what I was looking for. Hidden line. So I can also, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Phantom, center line, and all of these I'm hitting 0.5 and batting. And now you notice that I've got several of them clicked here. What I was doing, what you couldn't see, was I was pushing Control. So if I don't push anything and I just click something, that's the only one. I can only click one at a time. All right, but if I go down through here and I push down Control on my keyboard, then I can grab batting, and then I'm going to grab center 0.5, and I'm holding the Control button as I click. Hidden 0.5, Phantom 0.5, and that's all I want for now. All right, so now you'll see that I've got a whole bunch of different choices in here, and I'm just going to hit OK. Now I'm going to go back up to, actually I'm going to open up my property layers again, and I'm going to go into, I'm going to find Hidden. I'm going to go over here where the dashed was, and I'm going to click on that, and this time I'm going to hit Hidden 2. Okay, now I've got Hidden 2 in this point here. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and go for a center line too. So I'm going to put this in here, and I'm going to type in center line. All right, and I'm going to make this magenta. You can make it any color you want. I'm just going to leave mine as magenta for now. And then I'm going to click over here and put in center line, center 2. Bam. Okay. Now, if there's any of these that you don't like, you don't want, you can always throw them out. Let me point out too, def points. Notice that the printer is not on. So that means that I can put things on here that's not going to print. There's also one there that's called no print. But let me give you an example of that. So I'm working on this house here for the Mosley brothers, and when I was doing the elevations, they are doing a completely, totally different system using metal joists, because they own a metal joist company that, of course, they're going to use there. So I've got my def points turned off so that I don't see them. They don't print, but if I turn them on, you can see how I use those to figure out where my overhangs are going to be. So this is going to be a steel joist that they're going to use, and that way I can use that to my advantage. See, I don't have it. Yeah, I do. I can use that to my advantage, but then, it's always there. So, look, if I'm trying to, highlight some of this stuff, then for some reason it always wants to get in my way. So I just turn the darn thing off so it gets out of my way. But, I need it. I use it when I need it. And that way I can establish my buildings. So in this case, so now this line is hidden. It's the smaller version of that dashed line, and it does not go through a window. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to come back through here and I want to trim that out of my windows. Now I made a mistake on my window here. You notice that little extra line on there? So I could, if I wanted to, explode that, get rid of that line, and then what I have to do is I have to go back in and create, and I want you to watch this. This kind of made me mad because I've tried to do it several times. I'm clicking on the same 24 window that I had, and I'm going to pick my point. And I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to, oh, it tells me that I can redefine it this time. It's cool. So, okay, so I'm going to redefine that. So, where did all my windows go? Look at them. It's scattered everywhere. It didn't do something right. I don't know. I've tried my best to do this, and every time it just makes a mess. And so I'm going to try it one more time while you guys are looking at me. So I'm going to click on this window. I'm going to hit explode. So each piece now is back to an individual piece. I'm going to click on that one piece to get rid of it. And then I'm going to hit create the block. I'm going to specify the objects online, just like that. Hit enter. I'm going to pick my base point. So I'm going to go to the center of this and then draw down to the outside wall. Click on that. I'm going to give it that name, 24 window, and hit OK. See, this is the problem that I had before. The existing 24 blade block has not been modified. Yes, it has. I took that stupid line out of it. So I don't know what's going on. So I'm not going to worry about it. So that line's always going to be there until hell freezes over, I guess. And it's on all of them. So what I want to do is I want to trim out that outside siding over the windows, so that it's not so messy. Oh, I didn't do that. Another thing that you can do is you can use match properties. By clicking on match properties, it asks me to select the source, bam, and then it says select the destination. So then I can just go over here and I can hit that. Oh, I see, I've got the porch up here. That's why that line is there. All right, so I had it right to begin with, but my porch is a little different. So this porch is a rectangular line. So I want to get rid of this back line here because it interferes with my siding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to explode this, and then that way I can just click on this one line and delete it. So there. Now that much looks much better. So again, I'm going to continue around my windows, get rid of that line. And you might be asking, well, how do I remedy this problem here? Is I'm just going to have to redraw this stupid thing and call it something else and put it back in there. But that, nevertheless, that is perfectly fine. I also want to cut the yellow line out of the window section here. So I can just click on that. So that's what I want it to look like in my windows. So I'm just going to do that. And really, I should have added something else, and I'll show you how to do that. You know, Windows have a maybe I can do this. Let's just do this. Let me try one thing here. So I'm going to explode this, and I'm going to add that outer stool that is on most windows. And very easily, I'm going to just draw myself a little box out here. Actually, no, I'm not going to draw a box. I'm just going to do some lines. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to go out about a ½ an inch. I'm typing that in. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click that point. So, or not click that point, but I'm going to hover over that point so that I get it straight with it, and then pull it down like that. Now, that looks more like what a current window is. So now I'm going to highlight this, go to create, and I could go to create first and then click that to select the objects, but in this case I selected the objects first. I'm going to pick my base point, and then I'm going to hit OK. Oh, I guess I got to give it a name, don't I? 24 window. The existing window has not been modified. How in the world is it not been modified? If, you know what, probably because I need to select the objects again. Let's select the objects one more time. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. Hit enter. Brings this back up. Now I'm seeing all of those lines up there now. So I'm going to pick my point one more time. Alright, so now I've got a point. I'm going to hit OK. Redefine block. Yes. Ha-ha, I did it. It did it. Okay, cool. I'm glad that something finally works when I want it to. All right, so this is, I want to get rid of this window here and replace it with the block window. So I'm going to go Insert, 24 window, and I'm just going to drop that thing right in there. But now watch this. So if I do the whole thing, I'm getting all of it. The window that was below it, the new block, and everything. But I want to get rid of the old block. So I just click on half of it, like so. And then if I don't click on the whole thing, now it's gone. So watch this. Let me move this. Bam, that whole thing is gone now. All right. So now I can go around and I can clean this thing up, make it look exactly like it should be, rather than that stupid little line in there. And I've got my outside stool there. Now I could get real fancy, and matter of fact, let me just show you what I mean by getting real fancy. And all I'm doing is I'm going through here and I'm just trimming out that line. So as you know, these windows, they have a stool on the inside too. So I could put something like this on the inside of it. So let's just do that right quick and make it just completely done. First thing I got to do is explode it. And what I want to do is I want to highlight this line, and this line. And now what I want to do is I want to mirror this over on the outside of it here. So how do I do? Look right there. I have a little button called mirroring. So if I click on mirroring and I find that center point of this piece here and click on that, and then if I wanted to mirror it at a 45-degree angle, that's what I'm going to get. If I'm going to mirror it at another 45-degree angle, that's what I'm going to get. But in this case, I'm just going to pull it straight across, and I could do I can do 90-degree too, and it's going to throw it over there. But so I'm just going to pull it out here like that and click on that. And do I want to erase the source object? In other words, it's asking me, do you want to erase this piece here? No, I don't want to erase that there. And the default is no. So I click on no. So now I've got my nice window here. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to redefine this block. All right, I'm going to pick the name, 24 window. I'm going to select my objects, hit enter, pick my center point, or my base point, which is always on the wall there, and I'm going to hit OK. Do redefine the block? Yes, I want to redefine the block. Now it's all together. And now I can come up here and I can clean this up even more. Now it looks like a real window. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to trim out this little line right here. All right, now anytime you do any kind of major anything, first thing you want to do is you want to save. So come over here, just hit save, bam. It's going to save your project and you haven't lost anything. Always remember to save. Save. So let's dimension it. So we want to dimension to the outside face of stud. So let's talk about our dimensioning. So if I hit just plain old dimensioning, then I can do a whole bunch of things with this. I can pick my points, but now, what the heck? There's this line here, but so let's just pull in. See how small that thing is? It's not the size that it should be. So up here at the top, let's go to annotate, and you have this section here called dimensionings or dimensions. I want to hit this little corner sign here, and it's going to open up my dimension style manager. And I want to go in here and I can add a new one, I can modify, I can override. I want to modify the standard style that I'm using here. So I'm going to click on modify, and a couple of things that I want to do. I want to make sure that, when you open it up, it'll be on lines. I've already opened this up, and when you first open it up, it'll be on lines. So there's a couple of things across the top. You can do the lines, you can do the arrows, you can do the text, you can do the fit, and so forth and so forth. So one thing that I'm going to do is come over here to the arrows, symbols and arrows. If you like the architectural tick, that's fine. You keep using the architectural tick. I am kind of old school, and you can see that there's tons of different options that you can use here. I like using the field arrow, and when you click on the first arrow, generally the second arrow pulls up automatically. My arrow size for this is going to be 6 inches. Now, how did I come up with 6 inches? All right, so if I'm drawing on a 1/4 inch scale, all right, a 1/4 inch equals a foot. That means 6 inches equals what? So let's think about this. A 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. So 6 inches would be 1/8 of an inch. And that's what size I want my arrowheads to print out at, as 6 inches. Okay, so you got your center marks, you got a whole bunch of other things on here, and so I've got 6 inches on my arrowhead size. I'm going to go over here to my text, and I want my text height also to be 1/8 of an inch, which on a 1/4 inch scale is 6 inches. Your fraction height scale, that is how wide it is compared to how tall it is. I want it vertically above, placement above. I don't want it to be inside or below or anything. I want it to be above. I want it to be centered on that. And then down here, dimension offset, I want it to be about 2 inches or 1/16. So actually, if you look at that, it's now 1/16, but on a 1/4 scale, 2 inches is 1/16. So I want it to be aligned with the dimension line, which is correct. Go over here to fit, and there's a couple other things that you could change in here if you need to. Play with it. Go to your primary units, and I'll talk about primary units a little bit later when we're talking about scale factors, and we're just going to leave that alone for right now. And anything in the alternative units we'll leave, and the tolerances we're going to leave. All right, so I'm going to click. Actually, wait a minute. Check one thing. All right, so in my color, you can do whatever you wish in your color, but leave it. Let's leave it there for just a second, and I want to show you what else you can do. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. Now, notice that this changed. All right, it changes, and I can see it now. But wait a minute, what's going on here? See this little extension line here? That's not very much. It should be more. So let's go back into this, hit modify, go into our, no, I'm sorry, right here it is, extension lines. So extend beyond, again, we want to change that 1/16 to 2 inches on both of them. We could change this baseline spacing to 1/4. I'm sorry, it was 1/8. What was it? It was 1/4. So I could change it to 1 foot or 12 inches. Anything, you just got to kind of play with it and understand. Now you see how I've got a little bit of I've got a little bit more here that's sticking out, and I'm offset off of I'm not touching my actual piece there. Now, let's go back over home, and if I'm going too fast, of course this is a video, if I'm going too fast, stop, pause the video, rewind, take a look at it, practice, and do it again. So I have different layers here, and one of them, look there, is dimensioning. All right, so I could go on here and click on that one and change it. It was on 0. Everything's on 0 when you first start out, and I could change it to dimensioning. Now, I'm just not crazy about the color red. I like red to stick out and be special things. So I want to click on this, and I'm going to come down here to the dimension, and I'm going to click right on that color of the layer, and I'm going to change mine to cyan. There. So it's a little bit easier on the eye, and it doesn't stick out and say, hey, look at me. All right, so when we're dimensioning, a couple of things that we need to think about in dimensioning. Well, obviously, we're going to have an overall, but I'm just going to go ahead and delete that for right now. But we also need to dimension all of our windows and doors and stuff like that. So when we're going to dimensioning, and this is on my home page, and I'm up here, and I'm just going to hit linear, and I'm going to click on the inside of the outside face of stud, click on the center of the window, and notice how I got some kind of weird something or another. 3'1" and 5/8. Well, I shouldn't have eighths. Half is the most that you would ever want to have. So what I want to do is I want to highlight this, and I'm going to move it back 1/8 of an inch. You don't want to be laying off 1/8 of an inch when you're when you're laying this out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to right click. I'm going to hit move. And I don't have to click on anything here. I can just click up here, and then I'm going to show it in the direction that it wants to go. And then I'm going to type in 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so now it moved it automatically, and this, in this case, it was already attached to it, and it moved with it and changed to 3 1/2. So I could continue hitting linear, but I don't want to. See this little thing up here? You don't have this. I added this on mine. There's a couple of things that I've added up here. So when you go to your trim, you got trim and extend. I have trim here and I've got extend up here. I use these extensively and I fly through them, so I put them up here where I can get to them. But what I want you to do is hit annotate, and right there you have continue on there. Now how did I get that up there? Is I click this little down arrow here, and then I can go down through here and I can hit more commands, and I find whatever I needed here. So I can put in continue. It may not show up since I've already got it up there. Yeah, it's not gonna show up because I've already got it up there. And what I do is I just grab that and just pull it up there and place it up there. I don't want art continue on there. But so that's how I get that up there. So you can put up there if you want to. If not, that's fine. So you can hit continue. And what continue does is it just continues that from the last one that so it's attached to this dimension here. So that way I can just go out through here and just plop, 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 and then I'm done deal. So when I get to the end, I just hit enter. Again, notice that I've got some funky 1/8 of an inch thing going on here. So I'm going to highlight my window, and I'm going to move it 1/8 of an inch in this direction. Okay, so now I've got some nice things going on here. I'm actually gonna do this even more. Make it really simple on the contractor, and I'm going to move this 1/2 inch. That way, there. So, less mistakes, much better. All right. So, go back up to my linear. I've got my windows. My windows goes on the outside, and then I have an overall, but I also have an offset here. So I'm going to click on my offset. So now I've got 2, and I can pull these down a little bit closer. So if I highlight these, I can pull 2 at a time, and I can get these a little closer to the building. And you'll notice these 2 don't line up, so I'm going to line these up. And I'm going to pull those down. And then I'm going to do an overall again. So I'm going to do an overall of the whole side there. So I have all of this done for me. Now I have my walls in here, and I want to make sure that I did something wrong here, because all these walls are 4 1/2 inches. It's been a while since I've done this other video, and I drew this. So this wall here has I'm counting the well, I guess I'm counting the 1/2 inch drywall on the inside, which you really don't want to do. So all of these technically are wrong, because we're not going to, these are 4 1/2 inches. They should be 3 1/2 inches. My bad. Shoot. So I need to move all of these walls, and I can do all of the horizontal walls and then all of the vertical walls at the same time. So I'm gonna, is there one there? No. I'm gonna highlight all of these, and I'm going to move them an inch. Okay, so now all these walls are 3/4 of an inch, which means I'm gonna have to go back and fix all my doors again. God, so practice, practice, practice. So explode that. Move this. Clean that up. Isn't this fun, going back through it and cleaning up and fixing and everything? Alright, so I have this line here. I can't get to it because this one's on top of it. A couple of things I could do. I could highlight this door, right click, and then go down to order, draw order, and send it to the back. Now, if I try to trim this one piece, it trims it without, so let me change colors on this so you see what I'm talking about. All right, so you can see that this is red. All right, it's above this one here, but it's below that one there. See how that one is white right there? So I could, it's just easier just to grab this and move the Noid rather than try to go through all of that stuff. All right, so I'm going to change that back to by layer. And I need to go ahead and regroup this door. Actually, I need to find out what the door name is. The door name is 0. Are they all 3.0 doors? Yes, I believe they are. And this is, oh, that's okay. So that's not even a block. Okay, so I need to, I'm going to hit create. I'm going to pick up 3.0 door. I'm going to hit my select objects here. Get all of those objects in there. Hit enter. Specify the, and I don't remember where the corner was. I'm just going to make this new one here, there, and then hit OK. Redefine the block, yes. All right. So something moved. Maybe I didn't have the right. Let's go back and check this again. And the reason that it turned it blue is because I had it on dimension layer up here and I wasn't paying attention. So let me go back over here. When I click on that, well, it was right there too. I don't know why it moved it. So let's try it again. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the layer that I want. Door layer, and I'm going to change the door layer color to yellow. Click on DOA there. All right, so I'm going to highlight this, or I could just go ahead and hit, no, I need to go ahead and hit create 0 door, or 3.0 door, 30 door. Select my objects, hit enter, pick my point, which was the right point that I had before. Let's see what happens this time. Okay, so it turned in my door yellow, and I don't know why it's offsetting this thing, but that's no biggie. I can just move it. Notice what I did there. Let me show you one more time. All right, so I didn't have to hit move or anything. I just grabbed its Noid there, where the base point was there. And I went over here and I just touched on this line, and I touched on that line, and then wherever those two come together, bam, a parent, and then that gives that. Of course, that's in the wrong place, isn't it? It needs to be out here somewhere, doesn't it? Or in the center. I need to figure out where the center is. For some reason I didn't have a line here. I don't know why I didn't have a line there. Maybe I erased it when I was trying to go on. So let's just do, so I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to hit right click. I'm going to hit move. And I'm going to grab this bottom corner here. I'm going to touch that line. I'm going to touch that line. Go back over to where they two apparent. Bam, drop it. So now, yeah, much gooder. And also, I want to put it, it's on the wrong layer. If I drew a new one, it would be on the, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to highlight these doors here. And I'm going to put those on the door layer. So all I did was just highlighted it and then just changed the layer there. So this one, again, I'm going to move this back where it should go. I haven't changed this. I guess I need to do that first. So let's just move that door. All right, I've got these walls where they need to be, and I'm going to trim that little piece off there. So I'm just going to click trim, pop, pop. Notice that these do not touch, so I can go up here and I can hit extend, which again, I put my little extend up here so I can get to it quickly. And then I can just click on that and it will extend it out. And so I'm just going to go around here and take a look at all of these lines and extend all of these little lines so that they're all correct. And I need to go back and trim this one here. There. Okay. So I need to finish moving my walls here a little bit. So I'm going to click on one side of all my walls. And I'm going to hit move 1 inch. So now all these walls are 3.5 inches. That is correct. And I'll explain why that is. Let me go over here to this wall section. So this is a wall section that I drew a couple of years ago. And so when we're building something, we want this line. All right, so when we're building something, we're going to pull to this point here when we're laying out of our, our foundation and everything, because this is the outside of the CMU. Well, this line is also the line that goes all the way up through the face of the stud. All right, so technically I've got the drywall on there. When I'm looking at this house here, this measures 4 inches. And this measures 4 inches. See how that is? So I really need to take that drywall off. These walls don't need to be part of the drywall. However, there is one thing I could do, is I could move all of this floor system and everything, which it would be pretty extensive to do, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna highlight all of this stuff here. Including the baseboard and the finished. This must be out of an older version, because that should be all one. See, even my lines there, that all should be connected. I don't want to move my J-bolt. Bear with me, guys. Okay, so one thing that I could do is I can move this in there like that. So what that does is that puts my OSB, which is the OSB here, that puts my OSB the outside of my OSB even with the face of the block. And that happens. There's a lot of folks do that. There's not a right or wrong way to do that. You can either do the outside face of stud or the outside face of the OSB. And in this case, since I've already taught you how to do this, let's just say that we're going to do it this way. We're going to put the 1/2 inch OSB to the end of the block, or to the edge of the block. So we'll just leave this wall at 4 inches. And so technically we could move this line in a 1/2 inch as well, but I'm not going to at this point. So I want to just clean this up a little bit. You guys are getting a lot of good practice if you're following everything that I'm doing here. Like I say, pause when you need to, and clean that up, or pause and rewind and till you get it right. Because I know I'm going fast, and I apologize. It's just in my nature. Notice there's a difference here. Here's that OSB on the exterior wall, and this is the stud, but this stud lines up correctly because it continues on out through there. I need to fix this bifold door. So I'm going to explode it, and I'm going to, actually I'm going to just do this first. That way I don't have to chase that line underneath it. And I'm going to move these to the edge. Well, what I mean about that, I'm going to move them to the edge of the wall. There. Anytime you see this menu pop up, I have right-clicked to get to it. And the reason that I do that is because if I don't right click, then I have to keep going back up here, and it's, you know, a lot of movement. I know it doesn't sound like a lot when you're talking about your mouse and stuff, but it does get kind of hairy. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to Create, drop down menu, and I have my 48-inch bifold door. Select the objects. I'm going to select all of those. Hit enter. Pick my point. I don't remember which point I had, but I'm going to pick that one. And hit OK. Hasn't changed. Yes, it has. Alright, so let's try this again. So, create. 48 bifold. Select my objects. Hit enter. Pick my point, and OK. Yes, it has changed. See, I don't understand why I keep getting this. Block hasn't changed. Do you want to redefine it? Redefine. Well, okay, so maybe alright, so I was doing something right, I just didn't know it. So move that back into place. Now, since all my walls are the right thickness, the outside walls are the right thickness, now I can start dimensioning these inside walls here so that they are, you know, we can lay these out. I see a couple more places I got to fix. I guess I didn't go down through there and fix those, did I? So let's do that right quick. Check them all out. Yep, we're good. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to linear dimension, and I'm just going to click on, I want to click, anytime you click on the exterior wall, you need to be to the exterior of it, because that way we can hook our tape and pull over to this wall. Bam, there's going to be our first wall, and I'm on the wrong layer, so I need to click over there and get back on the dimension layer and make sure that I am on the dimension layer when I start drawing. Alright, so I've got 6 foot 0 1/4, not crazy about a quarter. I'm going to move that wall. Actually, let's just continue on, and then we'll just see what happens. Has to be moved. Okay, Remember, I'm going to an outside wall here. And you'll notice that sometimes it does this crazy mess. So what you have to do, what I done was I clicked here and then I clicked up here, and then it don't know whether it wants to go that way or this way. So try to click on the same, that way it doesn't do that stuff. And then I'm just coming over here and I'm, laying it into that line right there. All right, so I have 3/4 here and I have 1/4 there. So I am going to move these two walls in this direction 1/4 of an inch, so I end up with 6 foot over here and a total of 10 foot over on that side right there. I'm also going to move that door to go along with it. So move, and I can put in 0.25 or I can put in 1/4 of an inch. I don't have to put the inch signs because it's default for inches. Now if it's feet, I got to put in the feet sign. All right, so bam, right there it is, moved everything. Now everything looks really nice. I need to fix some of these walls here. Oops. There we go, trim. Clean this up a little bit. I don't have a line in there for some reason, so I better put one. And all right, and that was on the wrong layer, so I'm gonna click on that and put it on the right layer. And then I'm going to extend this here. What layer is that? 0? Yeah, everything's 0. I'm gonna go ahead and just highlight all of these walls here. Nah, I ain't gonna worry about it. It's on 0 layer. It should be on wall layer. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, so that's how I would do my walls. So when I'm doing my dimensions, what I normally do is I start and go all the way around the outside of it. So let's just do that. I'm going to click on this, get this first, and it looks like I'm going to have to move all my stinking windows. So I've got a discrepancy here and there. So these two windows here are going to have to move. And I'm just going to move them in the downward direction, 0.25 or 1/4 of an inch. Here we go, looks better. Everything looks good. I don't think I have to clean up much. Yeah, I do too. Anytime you move something, you got to clean it up. Kind of a drag. There. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and give my overall. I don't have any offsets on this one. Actually I do, I've got a porch. So I could do, generally porches are not included in overalls. But you could if you wanted to, we will. And of course the dog's going to start barking. Alright. We'll pull these together a little bit and make them look a little neater so that they're not so spread out. Alright, and I'm going to change this and I'm going to move it to a different layer of dimensions because this is the window and door layer. So I don't want to get people confused, the contractor confused. So I'm going to treat this as a single unit, so it's a double window. Boy, that's really massive there. All right, I'm going to have to do some figuring there. So go to the center of the window door, and the center of the window, and the edge of the door. So I got a lot of dirty stuff going on in here that I need to fix. So just might as well go ahead and start fixing it. So let's see. Which way am I going to do this? This is 3/16 versus 5/16. 5/16 is 1/16 greater than 1/4. So which way do I want to go? I think I'm going to go towards the wall here. So I am going to move towards the wall 13/16. Yes. Okay. So this one cleared up, but this one's not because I've got some mess going on here, so I got to move the door and the window over here to get these to clean up. Right quick, I want to get rid of these little lines here. All right, so I'm going to move my door 1/8 of an inch in this direction, and that's 0.125. My mind works very quickly in numbers, and so, you know, if you see me say 1/8 of an inch, and here I'm typing in some kind of decimal point, I've already converted it in my brain, and it's just habit. So I apologize for that. Now we're down to this last window here, and I believe I'm going to move it in the same direction, 3/8 of an inch. There, I'll put it in. And so now we have whole numbers here. We don't have any fractions. Fractions are bad when you're laying off stuff in a house. So try to keep all of your windows, your doors, and your walls to whole numbers here. So again, I've got some funky stuff going on here. I'm going to dimension my porch. On a different layer, and when I say a different, I mean a different row, not a different layer, and then do my overall. You always do an overall on every end of it. So in architecture, you do overalls all over. So let's continue with the windows and doors. So I have this window. Son of a gun, every day I'm going to be that way. What was I thinking? And I'm not going to go to this door because I have another wall here. So I need to hit this wall because this window here is in this wall. This door is in this other one. So even though I'm doing it on one row, I need to make sure that I hit this offset here. So let me go back and clean it up again. Doggone it. So I want this to move a little bit further away from the corner there because it makes it for a weak corner. So I'm going to move it 5/8. Okay, so that's much cleaner. And that's a half. I could leave that. I probably will because I don't have a whole lot of movement here. What is that measurement there? Remember, I want to keep about 3 inches. I got 4 1/4. I could move that closer. Let's do. I'm just going to move that closer to the wall here. That is not a block, so I have to get it all. I have to make sure that I cover it all. And I'm going to move it down 1/2 inch. That way I've still got 4 inches in this corner here. And that gives me a little bit of extra room over here. Not so crowded up against that other door. This is a very tiny, tiny house. How tiny is it? Let me show you a little thing here. So just type in, just start typing. You don't have to hit nothing. Just start typing the word area. Okay? And you'll see that it pops up there. So area. And I'm just going to go click. I'm going to hit the outside face of stud all the way around this house. And when I hit enter, down here at the bottom, it tells you that you have 82,944 square inches or 576 square feet and a perimeter of 104. 576 square feet. Now, it went away. So if it goes away and you need to find it again, just hit on the little up thing there and it'll bring it back up. And you can, if you want to, you can highlight that and copy it, and paste it somewhere else. 576 square feet. Tiny, tiny house. And my parents lived in it for 20 years. My grandmother lived in it for about 20 years, and I lived into it for about 5 years. So, tiny, tiny house. All right, so we've got an offset here. I need to hit this offset here. Got to go a little bit further because of this one here, so I don't want it to interfere with that. And then I'm going to go with an overall again. Dang it. Popped in, snapped. Just pull it back out. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to continue with my inside dimensions. I usually do the right to left dimensions first. Again, I'm going to the outside face of stud on my exterior wall. And I'm going to be just... Actually, no, I don't want to do that because I want to show you what... I want to give two different things. So I'm going to go and put it there, and let's see what happens when I go to the inside here. Yeah, okay. All right, so I got 3/4 of an inch, so I need to move this whole wall here and the door. I'm going to move it 1/4 of an inch towards the living room. Now, that works out better. Go down here and fix all my little places here. I guess I need to go back and make a newer video with less mistakes, huh? Practice, practice, practice. Okay, so what I meant by here is because, well, I do have a wall here that goes all the way, so what I want to be able to show that one as well. Now you may say, where'd that 14.5, or where'd that 0.5 come from? Remember that this is a 3.5 inch wall right here. So that's where that 1/2 inch comes from. Sometimes it happens. Okay. So now I need to do the ones up and down. I need to know where this wall is. I need to know where this wall is. I need to know where this wall is. So I'm just going to outside face of stud. Put that in there. In this case, if I hit enter, it goes back to the same one, repeat. So if I hit enter, then I can just keep right on trucking it. And I don't want a continuous here because I have a wall in between it. So I'm just going to hit enter. Notice how this dimension is in the middle of this dimension, so that's not cool. So what I want to do is I want to highlight this dimension, just hover over that center piece, and then I've got some choices here. I want to move with a leader, and you'll see what happens with move with a leader, and just put it in a place that's not going to be dirty looking and make it nice and clean. On this one here, I could go and put it inside here, but then again, I'm going to have to move this one with a leader. So what I can do is I can just click on that wall here, and if I put it here, you see what kind of a mess I'm going to have here. I'm just going to bring it over here, and that way it makes much cleaner. Just like with the bedroom here, I've got, I had 2 sections here and the long one. I want to do the same thing here. I want to make sure that I get this wall shown and the same over here. All right, so if anything is in the way, clean it up, make it look good. And I don't need to, I do probably need to dimension this opening here. So let's do that. Going to have to move this opening 1/4 of an inch towards the bathroom. One changed, one didn't. Which one was changed? Let's just highlight them all and make sure that they all change. Clean, clean, clean. So I have to go and clean up. All right, notice this one's in the way now, so I'm going to have to go and move this one. I could just move it. Why is it doing that? It shouldn't be moving the whole thing. I can just move it to the side like that. And it's going to play games with me. There. Okay, so I can just move it to the side. I don't always have to do this. And I can move this downward or upward and make it better if I wanted to. I'm not going to. So, oh yeah, I needed to clean this up. Just like that. Notice that this goes across this line here. So I can highlight this dimension here, and if I come over here to my properties, if you're not seeing this, go over to views. Matter of fact, you see this little thing here? This little cube. I hate this cube. It bothers me. Generally, I turn it off. Go to view, and there's that view cube. I'm just going to turn it off. And then I'm going to come over here to properties, and that's where I turn my properties on. So I usually like to have my properties on because I do things with those as I'm drawing. So I'm going to highlight on this particular dimension here, and through here you have a whole ton of stuff going on. And if you keep on going down to where? Sometimes I lose it and I have to look for it myself. What I'm looking for is a background. I'm not seeing it for some reason. Nowhere. Am I losing my mind here? Let me go over here and so maybe I can find it on this one. Background text right there. Jeez. Alright, so Berry House, click on this. Text. Oh, right there it is. Color field. I was looking for background. So if I click on this and hit the drop down menu, you'll see background. So basically what it does is it kind of gives it this effect where the line is still there, but it just, it hides it so it doesn't interfere with the dimension here. Now, remember I was talking about, let's say for instance you did something and the line's going through there, but you have it on. That's that to bring it to the front, bring it to the back, the order, the draw order. So if I send this to the back, you'll see that line is going through there. All I got to do is just bring it back to the front. So if that ever happens, and you bring it back to the front, boom, there it is. It deletes that, and then it doesn't get dirty. Okay, guys, just save. Make sure you save at this point, and the next video I will start talking about some of our symbols and so forth, and then we will get into elevations.